for the camera, fellas. Ethernode!
Yeah, Ethernode.
We're at the Ethereum core, the Emerald Fortress, but this is the second one. This is Emerald Fortress Part 2. The original Emerald Fortress is, I guess, post 901 Post Street.
Yeah. Until Saturday at least.
Until Saturday.
Yeah.
Where
Saturday.
Short-lived.
Does that work with our immutability? Are we allowed to change addresses?
I don't know, that seems like we might have a stretch there.
Yeah.
We'll just have a mail forwarding going on.
Right. Stick a secret note in there.
Yeah, and I guess we'll keep in touch with Whisper.
Whisper, yeah.
So what's going on with Whisper now?
Not much, it's basically it's always been there. We just kind of started using it more and getting to stages of building on top of it and putting some solutions together and kind of having fun with it at this point, really.
So, just for everyone that's watching, what is Whisper?
It's basically it's a messaging protocol that's built into Ethereum networks. Not as per se as Ethereum networks as much as clients, like node clients, So, like Go Ethereum client uses Mantis, you can enable, but it's pretty built into like depth P2P.
Now, who put Whisper into Ethereum? Who? Do we know?
I personally don't. Yeah, but
Is this like a pseudonym kind of guy?
Not sure. I've kind of looked a little bit, but I haven't really dug into it. But yeah, I'm sure someone might know out there, but I personally don't know.
It's maintained.
It's maintained,
So-
yeah.
But it's one of those like anonymous mysteries, like
Somebody
Who
knows.
Yeah.
gave us Grin? Who gave us the Mimble Wimble? Who gave us Bitcoin? Who gave us Whisper?
But
It's part of that family.
it's the version that's mostly used now is version 6, and in my opinion, it's really already got so much stuff built into it that next updates, personally, I can't even think of what they would really be at this point, right? So, some protocols don't need that many updates to live a long life, right?
And one of the things we joke around is that now we've got Whisper, the cartels are. I mean, basically, it allows P2P messaging.
Right. That's basically what you do, right?
And it's chain agnostic, right? Because it's just between nodes.
Well, it depends, right? It depends the type of node you set up and how you set it up to be chain agnostic, right?
Okay.
Because, and don't quote me on this 100% yet, because I've been playing around, but I can basically just say, I'm gonna spin up an Ethereum node and an ETC node, and on both of those nodes I have Whisper enabled, and then I say, all right, now I want to add that Ethereum node as a peer to my ETC node, right? Because they're also full nodes that are, syncing or consenting or proofing or whatever, and yeah, so you can spin up a version of a Whisper node, right, that lets you kind of connect, that's agnostic to what type of node it connects to, and it'll stay as a peer.
And so I could have Mantis, you could have Parity, and we could still be able to.
Oh yeah. Well, like Mantis and Parity both support the protocol, right? So you can definitely use them.
Multi-get classic.
Right. Yeah.
As long as it's an Ethereum-based client.
Right. But you have to have this point of relay that lets you help send messages between the the different chains. So it's kind of, I'm not really sure how to explain it, right?
No, I think what's cool is that you're also tapping into something. You're bringing something into focus that a lot of tools have kind of glossed over.
Well, it's just it's a utility that's more of a network function than it is a blockchain function.
Right.
And in order to utilize it, you need to have developed this network of peers, and those are essentially node operators in these networks.
Mm-hmm.
And even though adoption of the networks has grown, or adoption of the blockchains has grown over the last few years, there's actually been a decline in people who are running node clients. And
When you say a decline in node clients, is that like individuals running their own node?
Mm-hmm.
well, you can't verify exactly who's running those nodes. So
Right, they get mixed up with Infura nodes.
yeah,
for
I mean,
example,
presumably some of them
Everything
could be enterprise.
Right.
But the count is down?
Yeah. The overall number has been on a decline as the chain has grown. It just takes more resources to host a a node and
People are ready to use a third party.
Is this synonymous? Are we talking about ETC nodes specifically?
Ethereum as well.
So ETC nodes are down. Ethereum nodes. I know that Ethereum nodes also. It's difficult to even have a full node. I mean,
It's a larger amount of data.
Does that contribute to the issue? You think, or
Probably.
You know what? It contributes to the issue, but not from the point, in my point of view, that technologically it's cumbersome. Because, you know, if you look at the prices of hardware like SSDs and some of this technology that we needed to, it's going down drastically. Like it's crazy, you know, like. So that shouldn't be an issue, and internet speeds are going up like insanely, you know. So syncing at fast internet speed should not be an issue. The next 5 years, we're worried about 56K 20 years ago. Damn, it's not twice the fast, right? 20 years ago, 56K, you're never going to be able to stream video with it. Look at now, freaking 4K video straight to your house, no problem, right? So
the technology there, the hardware is there.
it's just, I think it's just an awareness,
right.
really, that's not there.
And you
that
saw-
it's possible.
Today, you know, I've been trying to spin up. You know, we've got my nodes spun up now. We set up was it Classic?
Yeah, but now you understand why we're building a dashboard to do that, so you have buttons.
So that's my follow-up question: is if I'm using Ethernode's ENOS, would it be like a lot easier?
You have 2 buttons, you're done.
Why am I making my life hard?
You know what? Why? Well, because you're a curious beast, first of all.
Okay.
You know, so it's kind of good to. I love it when someone, even if you're not really, not doing this to like in the future, really going to be a node operator or do something crazy or whatnot, or be even a developer, right? But it's good to people have that understanding. Okay, this is what's happening, and you know that's what we've been trying to explain. We have this terminal console going in Node and running a Node, and you know we've tried to do Docker containers where someone can put in one command in, and it just leads you through setting it all up through by replying to questions, but. Just something about that terminal and those letters and stuff moving on the screen just, shies people away, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you saw.
so-
I was trying to, copy, directly the commands that I found in
Mhm.
GitHub. So
So Eric actually, for instance, found the fix when we're up there, right? And here's the difference. I'm not much of a Windows user, and we were trying to use PowerShell, right?
yeah,
Well, Eric opened up command, which is an older type of command style on Windows, and was able to run them in there without the bugs, right? So that's like, just one stupid thing like that. You think one wouldn't be that much different than the other, at least personally maybe me, because my Windows knowledge is kind of not that awesome, but you never know, right?
so I definitely need to start using the ENOS tool set. I can tell it's going to make my life easier. Aaron, as part of the business model, other than making the ability to set up a node easier, I know that that's not the overarching vision. What do you see the overarching vision of Ethereum?
Well, the core goal really was to develop the open source operating system that would allow people to host nodes really simply and easily, make it something that was available to anyone everywhere, and something that could be run in a variety of environments, from a single board computer to a partition and VirtualBox or something on a Windows machine to an EVM. And in so doing it, and in the effort to not only build but support that long term, we looked at ways that we could grow the value proposition for running nodes and why you would want to utilize them, and what are the benefits of operating a node. There's a number of people who are addressing some of those issues with different compensation type programs. You run a node and you receive a reward for doing so. And
Does that exist today, or is that?
There are a couple of networks that are pursuing that type of. There are different stages of deployment, but yeah, there's.
And for modification, when we say a network, what's the name?
I'm not really sure.
So we're back. We had a bit of technical difficulty. We had a glitch in the system.
Okay, fixed it.
Anke fixed it. Anke fixes everything. Thank you, Anke.
I matrixed it.
He matrix glitched, bent the spoon.
What's food?
So we're talking about
Ethernode in the home node.
Mm-hmm.
What is the use case for a developer and then also for a non-developer?
So we looked at the current infrastructure for blockchain networks, and like we discussed, there's a decline in the number of node operators in general, even as there's been overall an increase in people interacting with cryptocurrencies, and the challenges around that in storage size and bandwidth speed and stuff like that. And so then the question becomes like, how would you naturally incentivize people to utilize something that's going to have these inherent costs or challenges? And one of the ways is to reduce the challenges, make it easier to do. And so that's been certainly one of our main focus points. And then, secondly, it's build things on top of it that provide value to users, so that there's an inherent value proposition to utilizing or supporting the network or being a peer and having a node and expending those resources. And we believe that there are those inherent network benefits that make it not only sort of a project for enthusiasts, but something that makes sense for everyday users to participate in and actually have a value-added benefit in their life. So, for instance, we were talking about Whisper earlier. We're looking at utilizing that extensively for IoT data transactions. And in order to utilize that protocol, you have to have every device participate.
With the Whisper protocol in it, the more secure it becomes and more robust, obviously, right? So,
and currently, the node clients that most people are running, they have the Whisper protocol
built into it.
It's built in, but it's turned off by default.
Yeah, and you guys have built a pretty easy to use chat client on top of it, right?
It's very beta at this, maybe even alpha at this point.
Yeah, it's
but it is
proof of
So
concept.
like, I would never be like on my own. I'm not gonna just do the shh command and
right.
no, but yeah, we built a basic little chat messenger interface that runs on top of ENOS, kind of like a application, and it allows you to relay messages back and forth with other node operators that have the protocol enabled.
and baking it into ENOS is part of this IoT data.
Right. Basically,
I dropped a joke for you.
IoT beta. Joke for me.
IoT data.
IoT data.
IoT data.
It's important.
It's important.
It's
It's
important.
been trademarked.
And yeah, we're trying to help that data transfer more securely and faster across networks. But yeah,
So to get back to your original question, the idea is to build this interface in such a way. We built it with an SDK in it that uses this Open RPC spec JSON RPC API, and that allows third-party developers to build applications that run in this environment and use this API to make calls to a local blockchain node, or to interact with, say, a local Whisper node to receive or send transactions. So this is sort of a very decentralized application environment, and so from a developer side, we included a bunch of tools into ENOS to help make it easier for developers to build on top of the system using the tools that are there. The API is really the core of it, because it's communicating directly to and from the nodes themselves, and it allows us to eliminate a dependency on REST with a very standardized and very clean and hyper efficient API. And then on top of that, you can host the nodes in the node manager, and we support pretty much all the Ethereum chains and their various test chains and all that. So
Your long-term vision is to have more people almost a household, every household having a hardware node and not so much these clouds hosted.
Well,
So if you
Right.
if you extrapolate it, and you got developers building apps to run in these actually kind of native distributed environments, and with the long-term intention being that eventually users can run their own nodes and no longer depend on a developer's node for a blockchain interaction, but instead configure the app to connect to their own node for any of their blockchain transactions. This becomes an environment where you can actually allow the users to keep all of their data local, and without use a third-party application without exposing your user data.
It'll become the new modem, like the new router that you have to have at home.
router, right? Yeah. So,
Gateway. We
gateway.
call it a network gateway.
Better,
It's probably a better concept for, it's not, right now it's not going to go in and replace the modem that's
Yeah,
connecting you
not
to
the
your current ISP. But you plug it in.
It could replace your router.
Right.
Yeah, it could
But
replace your router.
it's this piece of hardware that, today, like almost every house probably has a cable box,
Right.
probably has a router, probably has a modem.
Right.
So from a user standpoint,
Cable box is leaving, right? I mean, I don't know.
By
Cable
large,
box is around.
yeah.
By large.
cord cutting is accelerating.
Yeah.
Not likely to slow soon.
And then the idea is that maybe Ethernode or these hardware nodes take the place of routers because they're also going to have
They're
5G capability.
eventually, yes. Right now, the first version is just Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. But yeah, long term, we'd like to incorporate 5G modems into these. They're already mesh network enabled. So from an end user standpoint, this would be something that you put in your home, connect to your network, interact with through a local network connection in a browser, and then and then utilize that as a base for a local area network in your home.
Right.
Mesh networking all of your smart home IoT devices in a secure and not only a secure network fashion, but also in a way that the data produced by all those devices
Stays
stays
there.
inside.
Yeah.
When's the pre-sale going to start?
About a week, probably. We're getting really close to.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd love to kick it off. Basically, we'll kick it off as soon as we've got all of the ducks in a row, and just waiting on finalizing a couple of things production side
Yeah.
to make sure that we'll be able to give an accurate delivery date.
What's your production run on this? Like 100?
Depends. I'm not going to be really limited, kind of unlimited run, but we'll start just shipping in first come first serve, and you just want to know realistically what is our lead time to be delivering them.
Okay, so you're going to order these on demand as they're getting ordered, send it to production.
Almost.
Almost. Right.
It'll be a little bit of a lag at first. We want to see kind of what the demand is off the bat, and we'll do an initial production run based off of that data, and then from then on out it'll be available on demand.
Can we give a discount code to the Ethereum Classic Show viewers?
Probably at some point. We don't have one ready off the top of my head, but
Slash Marmot,
Slash Marmot.
Emerald Marmots.
Just keep pay attention to which side of the slash you're gonna have to use.
Now, there's going to be 3 models based on size.
correct. It's the same configuration except for storage space.
Right.
They all use a Rock Pro 64 single board computer, which is a hex core ARM based processor with 4 gigs of DDR RAM. Pretty capable machine. We run an NVMe M.2 Samsung SSD hard drive on that. So we're just trying to keep write speeds and everything as high as possible to give optimal performance for blockchain node. And so it comes in just 3 different configurations: 250, 1 terabyte, and then 2 terabytes.
Okay, and I guess you guys are running the 2 terabyte ones, whereas I'm more on the 250.
If you want to run an archive node, then get yourself the 1 terabyte.
What's the
and
pricing difference between them?
Cost of hard drives, basically.
Got it.
So $399 for the base model, 250 gig, and then $625 for a 1 terabyte and $850 for 2 terabytes.
Okay.
Mhm.
I can't wait to be part of the pre-sale too. You know, I feel like this is going to be part of history.
We're excited about it. I mean, you know, it's we're trying to make it very easy for users to plug and play. Just receive the unit.
Just pick up the documentation for the SDK and just start building their own stuff, right? Like our dashboard that's baked right into it is just the beginning, but basically the cool thing about that is our dashboard is built exactly on the same backend API SDK as our documentation offers for anybody else. So if someone all of a sudden from the type of business wants to create their own mobile app type dashboard that utilizes the NOS SDK, they are able to.
It's all there.
Yeah, it's all right there. Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, you guys are doing much more than just making it easy for new developers or people new to blockchain and P2P to get started. The fact that you're also early adopters of a lot of the technology that's coming out is a big contribution to the ecosystem. I know that you're one of the first implementers of OpenRPC, and you had mentioned that before. As far as the choice for adopting OpenRPC so early. Can you expand a bit on that, like what that's been like working with the team and the decision-making process?
Well, yeah, actually, so, OpenRPC is just awesome because it promotes document-driven development, right? So, the ETC Labs core guys created something comparable to like Swagger out there, but what they do is they're using JSON RPC, promoting JSON RPC type APIs versus REST APIs, So they build a spec called OpenRPC where you can spec out how your backend works in their playground using JSON type standards, and in the mindset that you're going to be using a JSON RPC type backend, right? So it's an RPC remote protocol communication, and basically being able for me to write out my spec, how the backend looks, and it spits out the documentation right away. And these guys went to the depths where you can include examples of exactly how your call to the backend looks and how the responses look and everything is huge. Because even if I later on, and they're also working on client generators, and they got a mock server type generator that runs based on the examples you include in there. So you can just build development platforms right now and throw stuff out to developers very easy, especially like you UI UX developers, right? So you have this developer, backend developer that's got this crazy idea for this backend API for blockchain and whatever, and you can just jump in there, spec it all out in OpenRPC, or you can spit out the whole documentation for him, and then you can just go build that backend based on using JSON RPC spec. OpenRPC using JSON RPC API, right? And it's just pretty awesome. Pretty slick. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I can't really. Yeah, I get lost in it. Like, I'll be honest, when I think about it and try to explain it, like, and just thinking about it back and forth and saying how efficient, how much time it's gonna save, I get kind of lost, right? Because then I start thinking about ideas. I'm like, oh wait, I got an idea now, and then so it's just literally like, I think it's kind of like, and I think the guys mentioned it when they were the dev core guys that are working on this, right? They mentioned that at one point is, you can build the most greatest backend API or SDK in the world, but if you don't have any documentation telling people how to use it,
right?
Then what good is it, right? And me as a developer, I've done this personally many times. I've used, if I was learning something new and I found some type of an API that can help me achieve what I want to do, and it wasn't as great, and I read online that it wasn't as robust as another one, but if I couldn't understand this documentation, I use the other one, right?
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Right, so
the friction of trying something new for the first time is so great that if you don't have the documentation versus another option, I'm going to go to the other one. Because even today when I was doing when I was trying to work on it, I was lucky to have you guys and Eric. Not everybody's going to be in that position.
Right.
And then on the, to kind of wrap up and segue along with the fact that you guys, incorporate Whisper, which again, early adoption. There's not many use cases or a lot of clients that have something built in that makes it easier to use, along with the adoption of OpenRPC. What else would you guys want to play with that either has been made or hasn't been made yet? Like, what additional functionality would you want to see to bring into?
We're gonna need another hour.
I know it's a big question, but
I mean, as far as our roadmap goes, and really, our background is IoT. So when we approached blockchain in the first place, it was with a use case for, how can we utilize blockchain in the next implementation of our IoT backend.
shout out to GeoSky.
GeoSky GPS.
GeoSky, GPS. Get it.
But we still have the same goals in mind. We're looking to build this specifically from an IoT platform standpoint. So one of the things we'll be working on extensively after releasing the hardware is developing pretty much a white label IoT platform that runs on top of ENOS. And our goal with that is to first and foremost begin developing products for smart home solutions that utilize an Ethernode, a local Ethernode operating system, either a hardware node or just download and run an instance of ENOS. But then utilize that as your base of your home network, and then connect your external IoT devices and utilize interact with them through a local application interface. Keep all the data local.
Mesh network running underneath your node, connect to it and go.
You guys are the true Emerald Knights, man.
And one of the things to tie it together too, one of the things that the reasons why like Whisper isn't implemented much is it's not necessarily a blockchain protocol, right? It's a communication protocol, and it's more of a network feature than it is a blockchain feature. And
I'm discovering day by day that using the word blockchain should, we should start deprecating this and speaking more about P2P.
Well, you can't do P2P unless you are both part of a network. And a lot of the products or the use cases that people have been developing for blockchain for the last couple of years have been prefaced more around the idea that the users aren't going to be part of the network, that you have to build applications that somehow users will use without having a node. Right. And that's always going to be the case. And it places a severe limitation on your ability to utilize these network protocols that aren't necessarily blockchain features. So that's what we're trying to tap into is the value proposition of, engaged, be a peer on the network and, allow or expose your or I would say utilize the opportunity that it provides to take advantage of some of these tools and the utilities that are part of the network features. And, in an IoT sense, this will allow us to run edge devices and transfer communication or transactions back to a home node without incurring gas costs, but still running across the same network, utilizing the same type of encryption.
Simple.
That's simple. And yet not. Well, guys, I mean, I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah, man. Totally.
The immutable fortress is gonna sprout up in Wisconsin and San
Diego.
San Diego for a little
while,
and then we're thinking what Denver.
Ethernode will be
based. I'm just going back to the Midwest too as well for a little bit, but and always Colorado,
northern Colorado this summer.
Yeah, so
near Fort Collins.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys for the time.
Thank you, Dean.
All the contributions.
Always a pleasure.
To the ecosystem. I know that all of ETC world needs to thank these two massively. And the discount code is going to be Marmot. We'll share a link to explain why Marmot is important to blockchain.
It was a technical breakdown discussion during our technical
Yes. So that way you can understand everything. We'll also include more about Ethernode in the links below. And we'll do it again next week.
keep some updates coming out.
Yeah.
Take care.